Reverse the brush rotation to cause the brush to travel towards the other side of the duct. Pull the brush back about 6 inches and then reverse the direction again. Repeat as needed to clean the length of the duct. Prior to removing the brush from any air duct, make sure you turn off the brush rotation. Move on to the other rooms and clean the remaining supply air ducts using the same process. Once you've cleaned all the supply air ducts, now you can move on to cleaning the return air ducts.
Okay, we're starting on the return side of the system now. And right here we have a return grill, which you're going to have either filtration systems in the ceilings or the walls or at the unit. This home here has them all in the ceilings and the walls, and you can see the bypass that you have here, which can be a symptom of the customer not changing out their filtration system, so you need to talk with them and see how often they change it. And typically you're going to have less returns than you will supplies in a home.
As with supply air ducts, first vacuum the return register as well as the boot area. Insert the brush with the vacuum on and engage the brush rotation. Again, insert the hose at a rate of about 1/2 to 1 foot per second. While removing the hose, make sure that you wrap it around the machine. This keeps the work area safe and orderly. This also prevents the hose and cable from binding, which can cause the cable to weaken or break.
Here's another return duct, and this is basically a wall chase. And what that consists of is sheetrock and 2x4s. This one's exceptionally large, and you won't use a rotor brush in this application because of the size. You'll actually hand vacuum this duct. There are some wall chases that are narrow, about the width of a 2x4 with sheetrock, that you can use a rotor brush on. The other thing you want to be careful of is this can be used as a conduit for other items such as wiring, or in this case, ducting from the second floor to the first floor. So just be careful when working around these items.
Next, we're moving on to cleaning the air handler, and where we're at here is we're actually in an attic, and this may be found, the air handler, in attics or crawl spaces or even basements in different parts of the country. But what the air handler does is it actually draws the air from the conditioned space, the dirty room air, brings it to the air handler itself and heats it, cools it, conditions it, dehumidifies it, humidifies it, and brings it back into the rooms throughout the home. Now, because of that, all the contaminants can load up in this air handling unit, and that's why it's important to make sure that we topically clean the air handler as well. And depending upon what your state licensing requirements are, will really dictate how much work you can do within the air handler. The coils itself is a breeding ground for microbial contaminants, and it also decreases the efficiency of the unit because of dander and dust and pollen and mold that could accumulate on the coils to decrease the efficiency. So getting in here and deep source cleaning the system really starts with taking apart the air handler. And to do this, what you want to do is start taking off the nuts here we have a 5/32 nut driver, and taking off the face plates. And then going in and using a shop vac attachment, whether it's with the rotor brush itself and or using a separate shop vac that you can bring into the area and topically clean the components. Now, if you see a lot of accumulation throughout the system, this is probably a good time for you to actually refer this business right back to a licensed HVAC contractor that can deep source remove the contaminants within the system. And this is also a great opportunity for you to develop a relationship and networking with an HVAC contractor to refer business back and forth. Well, at the air handler, this is a great opportunity for you to inspect the ductwork throughout the system and look for any cracks and or tears and or ducts that are pulled away from the registers. And any mild repairs and minor repairs can be accomplished with aluminum foil tape. Aluminum foil tape is easy to use and apply. And if this improves the efficiency of the air handling unit, this would be a service that most homeowners would be happy to pay for.
Okay, we're on to fogging. Typically what we use for fogging is Envirocon. Okay, this is an antimicrobial fungostat deodorostat. And what this is ready to use, so you don't add water, there's no mixing. All you do is simply pour this into the fogger. And typically you want to put about 1/3 to 1/2 gallon in. Okay, if you put the whole gallon, you just got to carry around the weight, because each gallon is enough for about 10 to 12 jobs. And what you're going to do is go ahead and tighten down the lid, and now you're ready to fog. And typically the rule of thumb is 45 to 60 seconds per 1,000 square feet of room space is how long you'll fog through the return. And what you need to do is turn on the fan on the air handling system. Not heating, not cooling, just the fan only, and that's controlled by the thermostat itself. And so what you're going to do then is go to each return and simply take the fogger, and then you have an on-off switch here and then a valve here. And all you can do is turn this valve counterclockwise until you see a light mist. Once you see the light mist, 45 to 60 seconds per 1,000 square feet of room space. If you have multiple returns, you're going to divide that up between each return. Make sure you turn off the valve prior to turning off the motor to prevent spillage. Also, keep your chemicals in a climate-controlled environment to prolong the life. And the last thing we need to do is install the filter, close the door, and turn on the air handler.
When the cleaning's done, replace the registers, making sure that the direction of the louvers moves the air in the desired direction. Replace the filters and collect payment from the customer. Use this time as an opportunity to ask for referrals, as well as describe any other services you may provide. Sometimes we're asked, what other applications can the Rotobrush be used for? There's two applications that it shouldn't be used for, and the first is chimney cleaning. Due to the risk of potential cross-contamination from creosote from a chimneys, you shouldn't use it there. Secondly, it's kitchen exhaust cleaning. Due to the grease that's in the kitchen exhaust, you need high-pressure steam to clean that. Now, there is one service that you can use the Rotobrush for, and that's dryer vent cleaning. This is actually a dryer vent of a homeowner that just had her dryer vents cleaned 6 months ago. And look at all the lint and the accumulation that's already in there. Now, the Consumer Product Safety Commission states that there's over 15,000 fires annually, 20 deaths, and over $75 million a year in damages. Therefore, this is a great opportunity for you to sell this as a service for your customers. Now here, let's talk about cleaning dryer vents.
The first thing you want to do is make sure you have your 2 1/4 hose with the brush removed. Okay, then we have our dryer vent hose, which you may have purchased with your equipment. Okay, we have a cable that has a similar brush connector and a cable retainer that keeps the cable from getting pulled into the hose. And this is just going to simply connect just like a brush does. And then, just like the nozzle adapter for the shop vac attachments, this is going to slide over the top. Now on the brush, it's a little bit different. It's an 8-inch brush that's either been worn down from previous cleanings or it's been trimmed down. And you want to make sure you use a smaller brush like this, because if it's too large, it could push debris forward and cause a blockage. Now let's start cleaning. Throughout different parts of the country, you're going to run into some duct called wall stack. And this is ducting that's actually in the wall of the home. And it's sheetrocked in. And what it does is it'll go in, it'll drop down, it'll go off either direction or straight back towards you. Okay? It's typically found in bathrooms, most common, but it can be found anywhere. And what you want to do is use your 1.5-inch hose with the 8-inch brush. But without a cable extension, it makes this very difficult. I have cheated a little bit, and I've made it to where I can remove this quickly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 6-inch cable extension that's flexible. I'm going to go ahead and install it. Again, I hear the snap. I'm going to check and make sure that the button's actually popped out. And again, I make sure it's engaged. And that gives me flexibility to make this corner without any difficulties at all. And again, that will allow me to go either direction that I need to go. Also, this is a great time to be able to use the directional control, to be able to go either direction. And also, many contractors just go ahead and use a cable extension on their hose all the time and use it on all their hoses throughout the whole cleaning process.
In the event your brush or hose ever gets hung up in the air duct, here are 3 ways to help you retrieve it.
The first method to use, and the one that takes care of 99% of it, is to just simply push the hose in about 6 to 12 inches and give it a quick firm pull backwards. and that allows the brush to center in the center of the air duct.